We're vibing while we're talking. You can get your laugh on. Watch the channel of a video. And subscribe, like and follow. We are chilling with the girls. With the girls. The girls. With the girls, chilling with the girls, with the girls, with the girls, with the girls, chilling with the girls.
Yes. Wow. So exciting. It's going to be a great show. So tonight, we all did that. That's our theme song.
I knew you guys were talented. That's great.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So welcome to another episode of Chilling with the Girls. Tonight, we have a wonderful guest with us. Our theme is, our topic for tonight is superheroes in the kingdom. Yes. And we found a superhero, you guys. We really did. So, let me see. I don't know what episode this is because Tawanda usually say this. Episode
10.
Season 3.
Episode 10. Yes.
Oh, man. All right, Tish.
So I'm Tish. We want y'all to like and join in on our conversation.
I'm Mary. Don't forget to share and hit the notification bell.
And I'm Tawanda. And I'm full and I'm overwhelmed.
Wow. Yeah.
Because of this awesome ministry that's on our show tonight. And like Mel said, it's going to be an awesome show. And I'm full and overwhelmed because of what the ministry has to offer. And it's just so much, and PJ, he's named after, he's not named after, but he has the same name as Pat, who started this ministry. PJ is his son. I do apologize. I apologize for my tears. But I just want to say that if you guys want to sow into a ministry, this is one that you should sow into.
Absolutely.
This ministry, I'm going to let PJ, go ahead. But it's a powerful ministry. It ministers to our youth. It teaches them so much. Mm-hmm. They learn the word. They worship and they praise. And some of them in training, they're up like 4:00 in the morning at Heroes Camp praying. And it's just powerful. It's powerful. And I'm going to let PJ take it away. Tell us about Heroes Camp. This is PJ, Pat Perry.
Yeah, Patrick Perry. So if you're going to sow, do it just like Tawanda did, sow in tears. Like that's how you sow into Heroes Camp.
Wow.
That's the biggest resource we could have right now. God counts that, he bottles it up, and we receive joy because of those tears. So thank you for sowing those into Heroes Camp. That's what we need. It's the power of God. It's like it's nothing that we can do on our own. Every day before the kids get here, we meet for an hour and we get fathered by God the Father. So in turn that we can father these children and give them the missing link. And that's what it is. I mean, I think it's 20 million children in this country without fathers right now. And we're trying to make up the difference through our programming. We want them to see a father in action, what it looks like, what a father provides, how a father stands on the word of God. And you see Pat Magley's picture in the background of the girls. And so that's my father-in-law who started this 35 years ago. And my name's also and I go by PJ because there's so many Pats in my family. There's Pat Senior, Pat Junior. My mom's name's Patty, and now I got a son, Patrick the Fourth. So PJ just keeps it simple. And the crazy thing is, my father-in-law, Pat Magley, and my natural dad, Pat, they both share the same birthday too. So it's all in the mix. And so he was sad that he couldn't be here today, but you know, I can speak for Pat just as good as anybody. Jesus came and he said, like, if you see me, you've seen the Father. And I'm confident to say that same thing about Pat, that I can speak on his behalf on anything. People have to be comfortable with being the number 2 person. Like for me, like that's the best position you can be in, is to be a servant, to be under somebody, and to get their anointing, to get the understanding of the years of life that they've lived. And so for me to have someone like Pat Magley that started this and was able to catch his vision. This is not my vision. This is not my mission, but I willfully submit and yield as Christ did for Pat's vision and mission. And it says pure and undefiled religion is to care for the widows, the orphans, the foreigners. And so I am privileged to be a part of Heroes Camp. And thank you again for just inviting us to be a part of the show.
Absolutely. So PJ, can you tell us a little bit about Heroes Camp? What is Heroes Camp for our listeners to understand?
All right. So going back to the beginning, so Pat started it. He saw, well, when he was a kid, he was probably about 9 years old. He took a trip to Chicago with his own father, and they had those big buses, those charter buses that maybe had 55 people. They had 2 or 3 of those. And he was watching everybody get off the bus, and everybody had their dads with them. And then there was one kid that didn't have a dad, and he looked at his dad. He's like, well, where's his dad at? And his dad just had to explain to him. And so it's from that place of tenderness that Heroes Camp was born. Like he recognized then, like, okay, I have a heart for these kids that don't have anybody else. Now today, a 55, person charter bus. I mean, you'd be lucky to find 2 or 3 fathers on there. So fast forwarding that to 35 years ago, he put the word out on the street. Anybody, I mean, this dude got a crazy, crazy basketball game. Like, all right, so here's a story. When he was 14 years old, Notre Dame is right down the street from us. We're located South Bend, Indiana, Mishawaka, and Notre Dame is probably about 2 miles away from where we're at currently. And Pat grew up in South Bend, so he's been faithful to his community throughout the years. At 14 years old, he had the Notre Dame basketball team, the national champs, knocking on his bedroom window saying, "Come and play with us." Wow. We've had ex-NBA players that have come up here, and like they just say like how Pat used to sit them down, like just destroy them on the court. Like they're saying this guy is possessed by basketball. So there's no question that this dude is like one of the best basketball players that ever played. He didn't go to the NBA, and am I okay with time and talking about all this? Like,
oh, sure. Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
I love talking about all this because this is Pat Magley.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's the engine behind Heroes Camp. I mean, he's the reason why it exists. And so he went to college, West Georgia, amazing basketball player. He was down there. He met, the love of his life. And interracial couple down in the South 50 years ago, that wasn't going down so well. His coach was like, I can get you to the NBA, but I can't get you to the NBA with that woman. And so he chose love. He moved back up to Indiana and they got married. So they've been married almost 50 years now to date. And so that's an incredible thing that he chose love over basketball. He knew that from the get-go. And so for him to see him make that decision was just where we're at today. God, radically broke into his life, turned him around from, a life of drugs and other things that shouldn't have been there. But now he's using basketball for its highest purpose. So he put the word out on the street now that he's saved and serving the Lord. Anybody that beats him in a game of basketball one-on-one, he'll buy them a pair of shoes of their choice.
Wow.
So like, first day, there might have been 50, 60 kids there. They're like, okay. And then the word got out. And the next day there was like 350 kids. They're like, oh, we're going to get this. We're going to get this guy for some shoes. Little did they know they were coming up GOAT. That they have expressions, LeBron James, greatest of all time, Kobe, Michael Jordan. But I mean, as far as basketball concerned, as far as its initial purpose for the fellowship of Christian athletes, for people to have that time of community, I mean, that was the whole purpose the game was invented. Yeah. I mean, Pat Magley is definitely the GOAT. Like, he has taken people and has given them the gospel, given them food out of his own home. I mean, they had a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment, and they'd have 30 or 40 guys in there. Mama BJ, his wife, she'd be throwing down delicious food. And yeah.
Wow.
But not only did they get but they loved basketball. Like we meet all the needs for them temporal, while we're giving them the spiritual stuff that maybe they don't even know that's available to them. And then when they grow into it, it's beautiful.
I wanted to show a clip. First of all, we got Jackie Gray from our church watching. Hey, Jackie, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like thumb. So, PJ, I want to show a clip from
I've been coming to Heroes Camp since I was 4. It's a good place.
Heroes Camp to me is like a home.
It's like family here. When we enter the door, you just feel the relief when you walk in.
This is God's ministry done God's way.
Heroes Camp has been pretty much everything for me in my life. And I think that's the biggest thing about Heroes Camp. We really make kids feel like they belong in this place. They just belong in this community and in this world.
You got love in the atmosphere, man. We have fun. You're having fun, and you're learning about the word. It's going to impact you, and it's going to change you for the better.
It's hard to stop coming if you really love the place. They show you so much love. It's just a new family.
Wow. Did y'all see the tears?
Awesome.
Before we go any further, we have also Barbara Milburn on here. She said, hey, PJ, I love this family.
We love you, Barbara.
So that was so emotional just to see, because a lot of people count young people out, like Baltimore try to stop people from, doing what is it called? The squeegee kids on the corner and the kids trying to raise money. So a lot of people count the children out, but it's so good to see an organization, that embraces the kids, and their needs and everything. Because it's like, we have to represent God on this earth. And like I was telling people before, we're the only God that they're going to see, and the only Jesus that some people will see. And that should be our lifestyle of worship. That is worship too, as we give, of ourselves to God. What happened? Oh, okay. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, so that's amazing.
Yeah, and I was thinking about even with the young men, the young guys that are there, that you guys are helping out to grow up as king's kids, as little kings, because they are supposed to be the heads, and if the head isn't right, everything else will fall apart. So it's good, even the way the structure is, to build up the young men, you know, and build up the guys and show them this is the right way, you know, you are supposed to be in the kingdom. This is how a father is supposed to treat a son, you know, the way Jesus, like you said, Jesus was a perfect example of a father, and you know, of a father figure. And so I just love your motto. I love, you know, what you're doing, and what you're showing to the young men out there. It's just awesome. It's just awesome.
Yeah, the men, they need some attention, and I say it jokingly. I don't know if I should say it tongue in cheek or whatnot, but I feel like we can solve a lot of the women's issues by getting the men right. And
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a sad reality. But I mean, you hit it right on. The men are supposed to be the foundation, and when the foundations are removed, what are the righteous going to do? And so I think that's what we see a lot when we're dealing with fatherless children. Like they're righteous, but they got no foundation. They have no baseline. They have no one consistently in their corner. It says you have 10,000 instructors, but not many fathers. And so, I mean, you'll have people in your lives that are there for a season. You'll have coaches. You'll have a teacher that's even there for a year. But who's going to be there forever? Who's going to be there for the long haul? And that's where Heroes Camp separates itself from everybody else. Like, we'll see you when you're young. We'll see you when you're old. We have an adult session because we know the things that they're going through. Now they have their own kids, and they're like, well, what do I do with this kid? How do I raise this kid? I want to be a good dad, but I have no example. Well, come, we're not done with you. We're going to be consistent. Like, and even in my own life, I've had a great father my whole life, and he's the baseline for me. I have to go back to him. Even like to this day, I'll say, hey, what is this normal thing that kids do? Hey, I need help with my plumbing. Are you able to help me? But I have that one person I can go to. Like a teacher, I mean, you might run into them in the street and be grateful and, you know, tell them their praise for what they did for those years in their lives. And but a father, that's forever. And so that's the weight that we take on when we you know, sign up for this job. And Tish, you were just talking about too, just the squeegee kids, and I just honor Pat and BJ for what they started at Heroes Camp, because everybody's looking for angles on what they can get from children. If they can make money off of children, is there resources and funding for children? And then if those resources dry up, they're out too. But you know, Pat and BJ, they left their jobs, they left a paycheck to make sure that these children had something. And so they put that all on the line and said, no, we're going to do this for you. It's never what we can get from them, it's what we can get for them. And so we continue to be free of charge for the past 35 years, 5-6 hot meals a week, passing out brand new sneakers, name brand, just anything a father would do for their kid. Like that's what we try to do. Do we come up short? Absolutely. But God's grace is there, and he makes up the difference. And he says he sets the solitaires in families. And so we try to have solid families on our staff so that the solitaires can be set in them.
That's so good. Oh my goodness.
So PJ, what are some challenges you face at Heroes Camp?
Yeah, okay. So there's different layers to the challenges. Challenges sometimes for me is hearing the stories and just realizing like, this is not going to get solved overnight. Like it's generational. And so we understand that the generational pain, the generational curses, it's going to take a long time. And so when you see people walking through the door that are, you know, hurting, and you just want to make everything right away, but knowing that it's a process that you have to walk through, even with all the power inside of Christ and in the body of Christ, it's a walk. It has to be proven over time. There's been so many issues. You know, I'm watching this mother that's been abused, you know, by her own family, and she's trying to raise her teenage son, and she's getting mad and taking it out on her teenage son. and lashing out at him, nothing that he did wrong, but just because of those past hurts in her life by her own family. Now you're looking at your family funny. I'm like, those things are hard to weed through. And so those would be the challenges. The challenges is always going to be, is there enough prayer? Is there enough prayer covering for Heroes Camp? It says the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. We need people to labor in prayer. We need people to take that stance. And this is not like a kid that says like, oh, I don't want nothing for Christmas. And then that means they should get more stuff for Christmas. This is kids, because I'm being nice. It says, unless the Lord builds the house, we labor in vain. And so if we don't have that labor in prayer where God is walking with us, nothing's going to work. We don't have enough wisdom. We don't have enough insight. We don't have enough eyes on the property, the parking lot, the bathrooms, like places that we just can't go, at the homes when we send them home to their situations. We don't have enough eyes. We need eyes in the spirit to say, to say the enemy can't come any further. Isaiah 59:19. We need a standard to be raised up.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
That's powerful. You're gonna make me cry up in here.
No. I was thinking about even with the name Heroes Camp. Where did that come from?
Yeah, so our first gym that we had, it was like less than a half of a court of a basketball. It was in the back of an old sanctuary, and the rim was attached to the wall. So imagine like going into a layup and you just eat the wall. It's just it was makeshift. It was graffiti spray painted all over the wall. And then there were some pictures of some athletes, famous athletes of the time, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Larry Bird, who else? Just famous athletes. And then it was written underneath it, these are some of the greatest athletes in the world, but none of them died for you. Jesus Christ is the true hero.
Amen.
Yeah.
I love it.
From there, I mean, it's just kind of evolved into Heroes Camp. And I mean, the word camp kind of connotates like it's for a season, but this is like a boot camp. Like we're all year round, 52 weeks a year. Like we don't stop. We don't have a off season where we're dealing with the kids, because there's no off season for parents.
Right, that's true.
True.
Yes.
Lord Jesus. When they get older, PJ.
Yeah. Yes, I know. I told you I keep calling my dad. I'm like, you're not off the hook. I don't care.
Exactly.
And you know what else? No, who else doesn't take off? The enemy. He doesn't. He's not taking off either. So we have to stay.
He knows his time is short, and so it says he knows his time is short, and so he's kicking up. But the thing I like is like as the world's getting darker, it says the path of the righteous grow brighter and brighter. And so there's a great separation that's coming. Like, yeah, it's crazier out there than it's ever been, but it's also brighter.
That gives you the opportunity to shine in darkness.
Yes.
So what do you offer the children, like to meet their physical needs?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, one thing that's becoming extinct is for children to have a childhood. Like, where can they have a chance to play out in the streets?
Oh my goodness.
And we're looking for that day where it says, you know, you will be able to play out the streets, and then the elderly will sit there, you know. But that's not this time. But that time is coming, and so they have no safe place to play. They have no chance to be a child. I mean, I know like some 14, 15-year-olds now that are working jobs, part-time jobs at local pizza places or McDonald's fast food chains, so that they can help support the apartment that they're living in with their mom and their. So like they got the responsibilities of an adult, you know, to keep that eviction notice off their door. Like, when do they ever have a chance to be like, I just want to be a kid? And so Heroes Camp allows them to come and be a kid, like come and shoot around and go crazy, play on the basketball court, shoot a bunch of air balls from half court, come challenge the staff. I'll challenge the kids to one-on-one. I'm nowhere near as good as Pat, but I'll challenge the kids one-on-one just to have fun with them.
Yeah.
And have that kind of relationship with them. So we provide a lot of fun for them. And then the other side is that we'll provide discipline for them, where we do work them out and we do train them and we do teach them what it is to have a good work ethic. Like we figured if we can train them hard on the court and they can get that instilled with them, when things get tough on their job, when things get tough in marriage, like they're already built. These things are for later on in their life. And so a lot of times we have to speak into their future. We got to train them for their future while we got them now. And so sometimes basketball is so spiritual to the spiritual man. All things are spiritual. Basketball is so spiritual. And so when we're disciplining them and training them on the court, we're working into them the discipline it takes to go on a 40-day fast, the discipline it takes to go spend 3 hours in prayer, because they know how to work hard. They know how to keep their body under. They know how to control themselves. And so when things get tough, like they're built for it. And that's the thing that God's put inside of all of us is like, we have the power to overcome the world because he overcame the world and all that power has been given to us.
That's right.
It's just we're unlocking it. Yeah. And so just to be able to have the privilege to get to do that. The South Bend, we provide clothing for them, everything, brand new shoes, t-shirts, shorts, deodorants, soaps, shampoos. We have a cooking class where we teach them. They learn.
I want to show that. I have a clip of that too. I have a clip of the cooking class, PJ. Let me just show that since you brought that.
Please do.
Perfect. Okay, put it there. See how flat I got it? That's for somebody who didn't know they were going to have extra.
Okay. Are you ready to put them in the pan?
Okay, I want you to go a little bit flat on yours. Flatter. Good. That's pretty flat. Good, perfect. I've always wanted to have a cooking class, and I've always wanted to name it after my mother. She's passed away now, Katie Lee Parker Simmons. So I call it Kate's Kitchen. One thing I wanted to do with the young boys here, not only do we serve them food every day, very nutritious homemade meals, I wanted to empower them to learn how to cook so they can feel self-sufficient, even at an early age. Most of them are coming from single parent homes, single mothers that are working very hard, and I thought it would be a positive influence on the whole family if that young teenager could learn how to cook and impress his mom one day. And they have brothers and sisters at home. I thought, well, hey, just tell her, I want to help mom. Look what I've done. Look what I've learned at Heroes Camp. I wasn't down to just bawling and playing basketball and running around. I've learned a little skill. I want to impress you. Yeah, like that. Perfect, perfect. Now, everybody, what do you got? Look what you have your eggs on.
I don't think you turned mine on. Mine was off.
Right, yours off. Further, my dad was an excellent cook. Men love to cook because they love to eat, so why not start them early is what I say. So you see how much you got? You want more couple of your stuff? Good. Not only do we feed them here, but when they go home, sometimes it's to empty pantries and empty refrigerators. And to me, that creates a food insecurity. Most people in America do not experience that. But we do have food insecurity right here in St. Joseph County. This is a major concern of us at Heroes Camp in dealing with young boys that are very active. They're gonna run around, they're gonna shoot hoops, they're gonna have some fun, dance, kidding around, but they are hungry. And I think if we gave them a tool that they could use, 4 basic meals is what I'm teaching here. It's not a rocket scientist, but I'm hoping that maybe they'll catch on and say, you know what, maybe I don't feel so embarrassed if I go to the food service industry and start a part-time job and learn how to further cook. So by us laying the foundation of them in a kitchen, understanding food, understanding how to prepare it, how to stay clean with it, how to be safe with it, who knows? The future is wide open to them. I mean, come on, you could go to culinary school in a local college. You could get trained faster as a line cook at one of the nice restaurants we got here. And they are well-paid jobs. Up in this joint, you know what I mean? Well, what I decided to do after much prayer is to have 4 classes every in a session. 4 classes, so that's 4 weeks. And the reason why I wanted to do that is not to overwhelm them. And the main part of this is to honor the 4 graduates after they graduate. So you're gonna learn how to cook some basic things that boys love. So it's not like I figure these menus out on my own. I sort of know what they like because I've fed them for quite a few years. And then we'll have a celebration where we present them the completed graduates of the 4 weeks Kate's Kitchen cooking class. What do you get when you complete this class course? Well, one thing you get is recognition with your peers, that you started something and you finished it. That's real key to young boys. Then they take home, which I am excited about, to get this to the mothers also. All the equipment they cooked on. I don't want anything used from anybody for these young boys. They've had enough of that. And so when they go home, I want a brand new skillet, I want a brand new grill in the box, and a brand new crock pot and utensils. They deserve that because God cares about them.
And that's what he said. If I deny the desires of the poor, or let the eyes of the widow grow weary, if I've kept my bread to myself, not sharing it with the fatherless, but from my youth I reared him as I would rear as a father. Using my athleticism, my family orientation, my racial background, the insights that I had by living in the office of revelation, I birthed Heroes Camp. It came out of the womb of my spirit. Too often, men make babies, but they don't birth babies. And birthing a baby takes the ability to pray a thing through day in and day out, and it wears on you, and you carry it. And it dictates to you through the will of God what you should do and what you ought not do while you're pregnant. Now I'm not pregnant no more with Heroes Camp. Now I'm pregnant with the Kingdom of God through Heroes Camp, as far as Heroes Camp neighborhood, the chapel, the Heroes Camp dormitory, the gear shop, and other things to make the playing field level. There's kids in the gym right now who father just recently died. Brothers, 2 guys out there whose brother got shot last year. You know, they get what they need. You know, if you want to get what you want, well then you probably need to go get a job. But if you're gonna get what you need, your daily bread, some gym shorts, some sneakers, some deodorant, some hygiene products, the word, the love, food, knowledge, prophetic advice, being instant, in season, out of season, word of knowledge, word of wisdom, spirit of wisdom flows in this ministry. Consistency.
So good.
So I want to invite people to, if they want to sponsor one of the classes, it's for students. And we are 501c3. We're able to issue a tax receipt at the end of the year for your taxes. Thank you guys. Give me some hands. Cheeseburger.
Okay, wow. So we heard
I'm
from
gonna
Pat
have to get ready to go. But before I go, I want PJ to talk about how, you know, the banks have come to the Heroes Camp and imparted into the young people there. Okay, love you guys. Love you, PJ.
Love
And
you.
I'll have to get ready to
Okay.
go. All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, I guess she gave us some marching orders after she left.
Before she left.
She is on vacation.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, PJ.
No, we've had some banks come in here and just teach finance classes on how to save. We've had them teach from the younger kids to some more individual, like personal things with the older kids. We have situations where, you know, they come of age to to get their own credit card or to open up a bank account, and then they find out their Social Security's been used, their Social Security number's been used, and so now they got all this bad credit to work through. And working with different connections that we have, we're all about relationships. So, there's different people that we have in the banking industries that we can point them to and say, hey, do you mind like looking into this case? Like, can you prove that this 17-year-old that's trying to, get a job didn't purchase a car with his Social Security number at the age of 12 and going through the process of that. So the needs are a little bit different. The trusting of the banking system. I mean, most of the people we serve will deal in cash. They want to keep, there's a whole, there's a whole social and economic thing that goes on with people that live in poverty. I mean, they have stacks of cash living in their house. And so those are the people that give robbed. They become victims because other people know that they don't trust the banking system to hold their money. And so you see things like that going. I mean, we had a young kid, I don't know, 6-7 years ago that died in a situation like that. He knew someone had a bunch of cash in their home, and he went in and tried to get it, and that was the end of him. And those are hard realities to look at. And so, we use the banking system like, hey, it's going to be safer in there. I know there's been mistrust with the banking systems for many different reasons. But let's look at this together and see if we can't solve this. So that's more of a, like I said, everything that we do is kind of like from the fathering perspective. So when we deal with banks, like we want to be like more like one-on-one personal with it, so that their individual needs can be met. But there has been times where we brought in classes for it too.
That's good. So can you share any? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mom.
I just was wondering, how could we start something like that where we are? Started small, between a small group and not much, income. How could we start that? And Baltimore needs something like that in our inner city.
Absolutely. I think a lot of the inner cities would benefit a program like that.
You have to start off with prayer and fasting. That's the starting block, and that is the foundation that you have to lay. If the foundation is anything else, it's not going to stand. There are so many good works out there. Even in this city, I mean, there are lots of places to play basketball. There are places that will give you clothes. There are things that will give you like food, like you can go to food shelters, food banks, you can go to local churches. But there has to be the relationship there. So everybody that comes through our door is receiving out of a relationship. And that relationship is our relationship with the Lord. And once we have that, then it's our relationship with them. Jesus took the fish, he blessed it, broke it, and then he gave it. So he had a relationship with God. And because of that relationship with God, the 5,000 got fed. And so that's the first starting point for starting something like this in another city. It has to be bathed in much prayer, much fasting, because if God is not in it, just forget about it. We can do a bunch of good works on our own. There's plenty. It says, what does it matter if I gain the whole world and lose my soul? It says I can give all my money that I have to the poor. I can surrender my body to the fire. Like you can do all these good things, but if you don't have love, and there's only one place to get love from, and that's from God. And if you don't have that, you're nothing. You're nothing. And so in order to make it work, you have to have that as the foundation. So that's the first step. Second step, and this is just from watching Pat and BJ, give of what you got. He had a stereo system and he had a basketball. And they had some food in their pantry. He would give someone a Gatorade out of the back of his truck. He would invite them up into the house and BJ would serve them a meal.
They say, BJ, what's in your hand? What do you have in your hand?
What do you have? Everybody, like a lot of people want to write a grant and see if they can get money to start something. But that's what I said a few minutes ago. Like, you look at what you can get from kids. Like, parents don't do that. And that's
that's
a
true.
sad reality. Parents are now looking at their children like, come and be the next NBA star, come and be the next professional athlete so you can provide for me. That is backwards. That is backwards. Parents, they're supposed to provide for their children, and we put the pressure on the children to provide for us. It's backwards.
Yeah.
And so we need God the Father. We need the prayer. We need to have what we got. So when you give, it doesn't matter how little you got. If you give that, then God's going to multiply it. Trust him that he's going to take care of it. He's going to change that fish and that loaves, and he's going to multiply it. So you have enough to start right now. That is for sure.
Did you hear that, Mom?
Those are the two. Those are the key ingredients right there. And it grows. This is 35 years of doing it. Now you see 3 basketball courts, a kitchen, a weight room, a barber shop, a studio.
Yeah.
But I mean, it started out of their 2-bedroom apartment. It started on their apartment basketball court. It started in the back of a sanctuary that nobody was using. Can we make this work? It started with a bag of chips that he had out of his pantry. And so from there, who knows?
Wow.
Go ahead, Tesh.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just wondering. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but when Pat first had the vision in his mind to start this into inception, how long was that? Before it actually took place. Before it actually happened.
He got working right away. As soon as he got saved, I mean, he was all in. And so he started going to cell groups at his church. And from there, he heard about the need for inmates to hear the gospel. And so he started going to the local county jail to minister to the inmates there. And then he heard about Saturday Super Church. And so he started doing that with another person. And then he just saw the need for it. And so it was only like a matter of like minutes. I don't even think it was a matter of minutes. It was just the timing of the Lord, where he's like, this is what needs to be done, and this is what I'm going to do. And so as soon as he got saved, I mean, he jumped in, and that was it. He was always pressing and reaching. And I think the tipping point for him for starting his own thing, like when he was working for this other youth ministry, and they had some, I don't know, 15 passenger vans, and the battery was dead, and they had to go out and get some batteries for it. They went and bought some used batteries for the van. That died on them again. Like, he's driving around the city picking up all these kids, and keeps dying. He's like, that's not how these kids need to be treated. They don't deserve a used battery when you got a church that can provide, or the body of Christ sometimes gets cheap when it comes to the things of the Lord. And like, that's the thing, God is extravagant, but he's not wasteful. And so these children, they need to see, like, they're surrounded by poverty. They need to see like what wealth looks like, and that needs to be modeled to them.
So good.
Yeah. If you don't have enough in the game, it's because you don't value the youth and what's going on with them. It's different from when you're just starting off, but and so from there, he's just like, I want to do this, and I think I can do this. And so he asked the pastor of the church that he was at, do you have any use for that back area? He's like, I got an idea. And the pastor was just like, go for it.
That's just having a heart for people and the passion.
And they, yeah.
Wow. So PJ, can you share any success stories from Heroes Camp?
Oh man, there's so many success stories.
I knew it.
The one that always like, oh yeah, I mean, so 35 years of doing it, we've seen thousands of kids that came through as they're now taking care of their own children. Like,
wow.
One in particular, I won't mention names and whatnot, but I mean, his dad was gone before he was even.
We keep freezing.
Yeah.
Now this is, I think he's been with the kid. Everybody still hear me? No? Okay.
Yeah, we're back now.
Yeah. So, I mean, the success is that he has his own child. One night, his son said he got a call from his friend who didn't have a dad and was like, hey, come on out. It was like 11 o'clock at night. His friend said, come on out and meet me somewhere on your bike. His dad said, no, you stay your butt at home. You're not going nowhere. Well, that kid that went out that didn't have a dad, he ended up getting shot. But because of Heroes Camp, you know, Pat Magley was a father to this guy. The dad had enough sense to tell his kids. And so now that just saved like 2 or 3 generations right there, because he now has a kid of his own too. So, I mean, we see like 3 or 4 generations of Heroes Camp by affecting one person. And then the work does itself. Like that's our responsibility. But somewhere something happened, you know. So I'm just glad to see, like, you know, fathers, you know, gaining their responsibility, taking care of their children. That's the success of Heroes Camp, that you can do it for your own family. Not do it for other families, do it for your own family.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. So you offer a great impact to your community. You know, like how do you interact with the police system? You know, with how do you do that?
Oh yeah. So the cool thing with our police system, we just had 3 of our Heroes Campers that have been recruited to be officers in the past 3 months. So it was a pretty big deal for us. Yeah. And we have one officer that comes for the adult sessions just to kind of keep watch over everything. But we don't have any incidents. I mean, the Lord has been faithful to protect us. I mean, that's just extra security measures on our part. But because we've had this one officer for the adult session, one of our guys, he wanted to be a police officer, but he failed. Like he got, I don't know, he didn't pass a test or what. Nah, and this officer was like,
Oh,
8 times. He's over. And so this officer walked through this young Heroes Camper and it's like, okay, I'm going to train you. I'm going to get you doing the push-ups, the sit-ups, and now he's on the force. And so, yeah.
Wow.
I love it.
That is awesome. Oh my goodness. So we have. We want to know, PJ.
It's like frozen.
I know.
Yeah, this is so good.
So how can one support you? First of all,
yeah, you were frozen for a while that time, PJ.
They got me in a back room. We're working on our studio.
Okay.
Which is another story. So yeah, supporting us. You can go online to heroescamp.com and find us. There's a donation page. Monthly support is awesome for us because then we can kind of calculate what we're capable of, what we're not capable of. You know, $5 a month. Like if that's coming in, that's good. Like we can just be like, okay, now we know we can do this portion of Heroes Camp or provide that. And so, I mean, I'm just impressed, like the way they make the money stretch. I mean, I was telling the ladies before we got on that we gave away 110 Tempur-Pedic mattresses this summer. And those, you know, $3,000, $4,000 a piece. And we got them for $50 a piece through a partnership that we have. and just the, you know, the ability to make resources like stretch like that. We don't have huge administration costs. We just want to make sure that the work goes forward and these kids' needs are getting met. And so
Yeah.
just try to dump as much as we can right back into these youth. And then the other portion goes to the staff that you know, is caring for these youth to make sure that they have a living wage to support their own families, and we can, you know, have quality fathers before them. So yeah, heroescamp.com. I see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
You just say like commit $5 a month from everybody.
Yeah.
He was like, Peter, like, yeah, $5 a month, sure.
We can do that, can't we?
It's like God loves a joyful giver. God loves a joyful giver. We don't want to force anybody to give a dime that is not like a joyful dime.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Like, if you don't have the money to do this on your own, like mom wants to do this, but if you can't, you can always support. This is good ground. This is good ground, like to sow.
We support every week. We support other things, but this is excellent ground. And we commit ourselves to support this, you know, all we can help. And this is our ministry. You don't have to just be so narrow-minded. You know, we need to reach out. This is part of our blessing. Giving is a blessing, is a ministry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Go
right.
on there. They accept debit, credit cards, PayPal, all this stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Go on there and
Cash App. Is Cash App, Tish?
I don't see Cash App.
I don't think we have the
I
Cash
don't
App.
think it's Cash App. But get these children off the street. You know what I mean? Like people talk about crime infested areas, but if we, you know, pour into our children, we wouldn't have all those issues. You know,
Right.
We have people who can respect women. You know, the whole nine. So,
you know, prayer is wonderful, but we believe in putting feet to our prayers, energy to our prayers.
Yeah.
And a little can become much if you have the master's touch, you know, and that's in your heart.
Absolutely.
You gotta have a heart for souls. You gotta have it.
Yeah.
I
was looking at some of your other programs online, barbershop and arts, music, and media. Tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, the barbershop, I mean, if you got 2 or 3 kids, that's $20-$30 a month. That's a lot of money a year that you spend. Like, we want to alleviate the pressures of the single parent, the single income household. Like, come up here, get a free haircut. We got volunteers that will cut your hair. We actually have 3 guys on staff right now that know how to cut hair too. So that's a bonus. We just had, you know, 2 haircuts that we did today. That the kids are having a birthday party tomorrow, and they wanted to look fresh, and they came in excited because they got a new dad. Like they're I don't know what happened with the previous father, that relationship, but they got someone that's willing to adopt them now, and so they wanted a fresh cut so that they look good. The music studio is probably like my favorite thing going on right now, just because the power of music is like ridiculous. I mean, that was, you know, Satan was able to lead 1/3 of the angels astray. And so that's like what's going on in the world today. People are being led astray by music. And so we're building this Dolby Atmos studio. And I say the Lord's building it because it's incredible every step of the way. The same guy that designs these top music artists, I mean, Post Malone, Kanye's, Drake, he's designing our studio.
No way. That's awesome. Wow.
All about what we're doing. He's like, I got to be a part of this. I mean, the blueprints alone are like 20 grand. He's like, I want to help you guys out. And so he gave us the blueprints for that. The next day, a construction team walks in and says, we want to help out. So they're doing the gold, the material.
Come on. Oh,
yeah.
I'm feeling the spirit.
Maybe in about 2 or 3 months, it'll be fully functioning. Dolby Atmos Studio. We had a guy that came to Heroes Camp 2 years ago that's now on staff. He lived in South Dakota. He got the #1 Billboard hit with Rick Ross. And he was like, I want to help out. So he moved his whole family here to South Bend, Mishawaka, and is now on staff and in charge of the music program the studio. So the kids have access to that kind of caliber of talent. And it's all free of charge. Like I said, we're not trying to make anything. We're trying to provide like where they have to go and spend hundreds of dollars to get this kind of things, thousands of dollars to get this kind of teaching. Like they got it for free. And then they also got the stability around it to let them know, like, you don't have to go the way of the world to get your needs met. They're met by the house of God.
And all of this in one location, or how big is your location?
It's one location.
Yeah, one location right now. And I mean, the building we're in is probably about 25,000 square feet.
Where were we last time? Because I went there before years ago, but
I went there more than once.
So we're in that same building.
You're in the same, really?
We've expanded it since you've been.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember when you came, it was maybe 2008. Does that sound right?
Yep, that sounds about right.
Dad was with us. We had lunch from Chick-fil-A, gave us lunch.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, since then, I mean, we've expanded a little bit on the sides. So we've grown a little bit since you've been here as far as the building. So it's a little bit bigger, yeah.
And it's in a ripe location now. It's like smack in the middle of like the projects area where people really, are in need.
30 apartment complexes.
Right. Yeah.
Radius. Yeah.
I thought I saw the military there too, Tish. Wasn't some of the military people there?
I don't remember that one.
Years ago.
Yeah, we do have some of our guys that are serving in the military, which we're super proud of. Yeah, so sometimes they'll come in their uniforms and everything, and I like that.
This is so cool.
Love it. I want to start it tomorrow.
Go for it.
Are you pregnant with it? Because Pat said, I'm no longer pregnant. Here it is. Now I'm
birthing it.
And he's so cool, though. Pat is so cool.
Yes, he is.
And your spouses are on board with it too, right? The spouses, the children.
That's his daughter. That's Pat's daughter, of course.
Yes. So Pat and BJ had one child. I married her 15 years ago. So I was at Heroes Camp for 7 years, volunteering and working. And she was living in Chicago, which is about 2 hours from here. And so I knew they had a daughter, but I didn't know anything about her. But when I met her, it was a done deal. 6 months later, we were married. Now we got 3 kids, and it's going good. So
congratulations.
Yeah. So my spouse is definitely on board. She is one of the founders of Heroes Camp. She was, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years old when they started Heroes Camp, and she was in there building that first gym and cleaning and sweeping the floors and reffing games with her dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's her baby too.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank you so much for coming on here, PJ. It was a pleasure just talking to you. And I just want our listeners to come on, go on. That's the website right there, www.heroescamp.com. Click on donation and give into this ministry. Good ground.
Yes. Yeah. And the other thing that PJ said, your prayers too. So don't forget to put this, Heroes Camp on your prayer list.
That's right.
Yeah, because he's doing great things in the kingdom.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We believe
Heroes in the kingdom. Heroes in the kingdom. When you have the heart of God, you become a hero in the kingdom.
Yes.
That's true, Hebrew.
Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like. And also, we have a Facebook page, Chilling with the Girls. Go on there and subscribe. I need to transfer all our other videos onto
and YouTube too.
And YouTube. Yep. YouTube. Go onto YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We thanks again, PJ, for being on here. I'm like overwhelmed just by listening to you. Like I'm so overwhelmed. So we will see y'all next week. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.